Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John, that's my core and commentary Ashton, and this is the week in review. And you know what? I'm going to open talking about something I did this week, which kind of set off a chain of thoughts for me. I watched, thanks to the YouTube channel WWE Vault, which I think is one of the best YouTube channels the WWE umbrella has. I watched the Kurt Angle Brock Lesnar 60-minute Iron Man match on SmackDown back in, I want to say, September of 2003. And funny story about this match before I get into like my thoughts on rewatching it. So when this match first happened, you figure I would have been 11 years old. And I'll never forget the week that this match was supposed to take place. So follow my timeline here. It's Monday, and 11-year-old me, I'm waiting for the school bus. I'm sitting on my couch, and my grandmother, she always had like the morning news on. She consumed a lot of news in her life. So the morning news is on. They get to the weather report, and there's this big hurricane supposed to hit like at either the East Coast or at least a part where the East Coast would get very strong winds. And that was kind of what was happening with us. We were going to get a very big storm. This is when I lived in New Jersey at the time. And so 11-year-old me, not thinking about, the things that adult leftist me would think about now, I'm thinking about, oh shit, is the power going to hold for this Iron Man match? Because I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be freaking dope. It's Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar on free TV for 60 minutes, which is really just 40 some minutes when you factor in commercials. At least for the television viewer. And I'm like freaking out. So then come Thursday, match is happening. The storm is raging. Winds are going fucking crazy outside, right? And I'm watching this match. And during the commercial breaks, I'm pacing like an animal because I'm like, oh God, it would suck if the power went out during a commercial. Please, please, please. Long story short, I get to see the whole match. Power goes out 5 minutes after. How crazy is that? Wrestling gods had my back that night, y'all. I got to see the Iron Man match when it first aired. And watching it again all this time later because I had practically forgotten it. I mean, I remember the finish quite clearly. I will say, I think it's as close as you can get to a perfect match. Kurt Angle is the babyface that believes in his in-ring ability, in his mat wrestling ability. You have Brock Lesnar, who recently had turned heel, betraying Kurt Angle. And I think this Iron Man match came after he did the infamous segment with Zach Gowen where he pushed him down a flight of stairs. So Brock is kind of the heel monster. Um, I love that every move mattered in this match. I love that we saw genuine chain wrestling. I love that spots where guys would take a rest, it's because they would, eat like insane offense. Like Kurt Angle ate an F5 on the outside at one point. And you figure that's like a chance, like, okay, I'm going to catch my breath and I'm going to do the dramatic kind of 9 count spot where I just beat the count. Lesnar getting disqualified so that he could wear down Kurt Angle, I thought was a stroke of heel genius. He gives up points to gain more points, down the road. I think it's a perfect match. I think it's the best Iron Man match I've ever seen. And that includes the one that Benoit had with Triple H. And you guys know what a Benoit fan I am, even in spite of everything. So for me to put this Iron Man match above that really tells you something. But I felt like it told a very comprehensive story. Kurt Angle was adamant about making it a wrestling match, wanting to prove that he's the better wrestler. Brock only cared about winning the title. And you see those two motivations clash. And it was great. And it really reminded me and really put into focus. And it's nothing new here because you and I have said this many times before. So it's not like I'm bringing this grand revelation to the table, but just to really double down. I like psychology in my matches. I like overarching in ring stories in my matches. I like moves that make sense. And when we say chain wrestling, I mean it in the broadest sense of the term, where I want every move to make sense. I want every move to mean something. I also watched Kurt Angle and Undertaker from 2003 this week. And here's another big one that I want to mention. I didn't exactly watch the match, but I watched Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio dissect their 2002 SummerSlam match, which, I mean, that SummerSlam is a fucking all-timer. I mean, that card was stacked. You figure Brock versus Rock, Kurt Angle and Ray had an amazing opener that was under 10 minutes. Uh, Chris Benoit RVD had an amazing Intercontinental title match. Shawn Michaels' return after so many years in that unsanctioned street fight against Triple H. Yeah, SummerSlam 2002, fucking banger. But yeah, in watching Kurt and Ray talk about this match, which was the first time they ever worked together, and Kurt being the consummate pro, he tells Ray apparently backstage, like he apparently vouched to work with Ray. That was a story that Ray kind of told, which I thought was really cool. And Kurt tells Ray, give me everything you've got. I'm going to make you look good, really good. And boy, Ray does. Like, I know I rag on Ray a lot, just, joking around and just being my heel douchey self. But Ray, especially in the early 2000s and like late 90s and shit, talented as fuck. I'm watching the stuff he's doing to Kurt in that ring, and I'm like, man. And even the stuff Ray can do now, thanks to stem cell therapy and everything, when you think about his age, it's like, Ray can still get a pop out of the crowd. He can still do some wild stuff. But what I love about that match, and I think it's important to mention this match because again, Ray in the early 2000s was a lot like what you'd see the AEW guys do today, and then the AEW guys, it's especially like another level because it's a lot of flips and crazy spots and this and that. But with Ray, one thing that I loved was like every move that Kurt hit as the bigger guy, he had to fight for and really earn. Like there were spots where like he's trying to pick Ray up off the ground and Ray's trying to kick him from the ground. So quite literally, there's no wasted motion here. There's no passivity from Ray that makes it look blatantly obvious that he's ready to receive spots, right? And I love that. So I think watching all of this, like I know it's the curse of every generation to look at the stuff they grew up on through rose-tinted glasses and kind of exalt it above everything else in a definite bias. And I am definitely biased. But there was a philosophy of working and a philosophy of wrestling that I feel like prevailed back then that I'm not saying I need to see prevail completely today, but I wish it wasn't completely discarded. Like I don't like that wrestling matches a lot of the time that I see just seem to become like pop fests, like, oh, what's the most ridiculous thing that we can do? I like my selling. I like my psychology. I like people fighting from the ground up and really making it feel real. Like you're not just ready to receive this move. Because that's what we've planned, that's what we've charted out. So, and yeah, and all this to say too, just tangentially, Kurt Angle really is a fucking goat. I really couldn't give two shits what a Dave Meltzer thinks. Kurt was so naturally good at this fucking business. I mean, just early on. Like he was the quickest study imaginable. And yeah, I mean the kind of match he put on with people as varied as Rey Mysterio all the way to the Undertaker. It's like I think you look at the Ruthless Aggression era, he was in my mind the Bret Hart of the Ruthless Aggression era. If everybody wants to put Bret on a pedestal for how he worked and brought psychology and everything, that's fucking Kurt Angle to me. So yeah, I think he's absolutely goated. So that was kind of my wrestling journey. And as far as like the contemporaneous stuff, the only thing I really give a shit about right now that I watch the YouTube clips of is again Io, Asuka, Rhea, and this whole thing. Because I think Io is really in her fucking bag right now as a baby face. I think the crowd loves her. I think Asuka, babyface or heel, I think the benefit of being Asuka, besides being fucking a gift to this planet, is just having such a natural menace that, she's easily slotted into the kind of villain role. And Rhea, I still feel like is up in the air because I do think she's sincere in her friendship to Io, but we can't forget that she's never beaten Io. And I have to wonder if Rhea at any point is going to want to exploit this emotional distress that Io is going through for her own benefit. And so there are a lot of moving parts here that I like. And what's Kairi going to do? Because I mean, Asuka very clearly is like terrorizing her, but in such a way that like, there is still that affection there. Like I do think Asuka in her own warped way still cares about Kairi, and Kairi, of course, adores Asuka. And then we think about the cultural side, like you already mentioned, Asuka's the senpai in the relationship. So yeah, a lot of moving parts that I love. But I know I talked for an extended intro here. I just wanted to kind of lay out on the wrestling side everything that I did this week. If you want to respond to anything I've said or just talk about anything you've consumed this week, I'm going to give you the floor, bud.
I don't really have anything to say, honestly. You talking about the lack of selling in pro wrestling and how it's just kind of pop after pop after pop. Really, like that connects with me on a very like deep level. And
Yeah.
like I saw that apparently Sting's son Stephen Borden debuted apparently at some point this week, and I read that he was trained by a combination of J.D. Drake and Darby Allin. And the fact that somebody like Darby Allin is training the next generation of wrestlers really does make me feel like it is just a lost cause of a business.
I couldn't have said it better, honestly, and I'm not even going to try to, because when you said that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, if this dude is already training people, we're
Yeah.
cooked. We're
Yeah, we've
cooked.
got people who were trained by 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 people who don't know how to draw a dime.
Yeah.
And we're wondering why both major wrestling companies in the US are losing viewership, losing attendance literally by the week. There you go. It's not rocket science.
No, no, it is not.
But WWE is going to continue to make money hand over fist because their financial stability does not rely on fans showing up or watching the shows. It relies on the Saudi government appreciating their propaganda.
Okay, so you're not wrong, but I want to expound upon what you just said by making like a broader claim a little bit. It's WWE as brand, as image becoming the product, which I think is what was always the end goal, right? Become so big that you put WWE on it and it's gonna make money. The same way like what a lot of people say UFC has been like the last I don't know how many years. I'm not even gonna speculate how many years, but that's where UFC has gotten. You put UFC on it, you're guaranteed to make some money. I think that's where, at least in Triple H's mind, probably Vince too, to be fair, because I mean, he's a capitalist too. Let's, and a piece of shit. But yeah, I think the goal always was get WWE to be so big that you just put our logo on it, and there you go. And I think they've achieved that level of security because they can get in bed with corrupt governments. Which, to be fair, our government is a hella corrupt government, but a corrupt foreign government, and
I mean,
do all.
still, though, I think that it's a pretty politically neutral statement to say that I don't think that an entertainment or a sports company, much less one that combines both, should be particularly friendly with any government,
No, no, because you already
including
know,
the one
yeah.
that they're based in, like including the one of the country that they're based in.
Yeah, I mean, you already know that I've retched seeing the photo op that Stephanie and Hunter did with RFK, and then, going to the White House with all presidential fitness kind of executive order, whatever the fuck. So yeah, like I feel like, when you're a cultural institution, it's not that you're apolitical, but your politics don't come from cozying up to the established government. And certainly not any foreign entity, but that's where we're at, and that's the power of the just the brand and the idea of WWE, and yeah, yeah, I mean, it just actually, in that vein, did you watch anything from, like, the current time? Because you already know the only thing I cared about, I checked in on Rhea, Io, Asuka, all that. Did you check in on anything this week?
I did not watch Raw or NXT or Evolve or anything AEW related. And while I did have SmackDown on my TV because my mom wanted to watch it and we need to use a VPN to watch it, I paid extremely limited attention to it. I saw that we got the breakup of Mello Don't Miz, and then Mello attempted to answer Sami Zayn's open challenge, but got laid out by Aleister Black, who ended up answering the open challenge himself.
Yeah,
Oh, apparently Mello actually got laid out by the Miz, which is what opened the door for Aleister. My mom's telling me this because she's the one that watches all this stuff now. She's the only one in the house that really pays attention to WWE programming. And
yeah.
even then, she doesn't watch NXT. So I have no clue what happened on NXT this week. I didn't watch it. She didn't watch it. She watched Raw and she paid attention to SmackDown while it was on the TV. I have pretty successfully managed to divorce myself from the product entirely.
How do you? Unironically. Because, I feel like I'm there emotionally, but I still, I guess because we are still making content, it's kind of like a reflex response in a way, like a force of habit, I guess you could say. Um, I think the only thing I saw from NXT was the Tara segment, backstage, which I thought was I mean, I love
Yes.
those 2 together, so, like, that's always going to pop me. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm really at the point.
How is this Tara reunion like coinciding with Izzy Dame and the culling being Tatum's faction?
I mean, Izzy's not happy with it. But then again, she's an insensitive feelings herder. I'm just getting that out there early. This way, when she does it, I'm like, huh, called it. So we don't really care what she thinks in this house, at least on that level. Still a great performer though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, I said this a few weeks ago, which I think kind of started this whole process. But I'm still very much in the place of like it's so hard, even things that I do like genuinely like and have no animus towards. Um, it's hard to be fully present in that when you look at everything that's happening. Because I'll
Hmm.
tell you, going into this week, because we have been, more open than we've ever been about talking politics and everything. Like we've really just fully embraced it. Or I know I definitely have. You've always been the one that's been like, yeah, we're a leftist podcast. Um, what happened in Chicago this week?
Hmm.
Um, with ICE just rappelling down, raiding a whole apartment complex, taking people out of their units, children naked and zip tied, put into fucking practically U-Haul vans and interrogated. I mean, again, the anybody that's still like, "Oh, this is the road to fascism," like, wake the fuck up. Like this is just fascism, full stop. This isn't the road. We reach the destination. Um, and it's frightening. It's deeply frightening. And don't get me wrong. I watched some beautiful videos this week. Um, Park Rose Permaculture is a YouTuber I've really grown to like.
That sounds
And
so familiar.
I guarantee you we've had videos of her shared in this. In fact, she was the one, if you remember, when she kind of responded to Chris Valenti
I
saying
know
like,
who you're
"We're not."
talking about immediately. She was the one that basically said, like, stop being such fucking doomers. It makes everyone.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
gotcha. Yep.
And stakes are really getting high. And with this government shutdown, which by the way, government's still shut down. I believe we're in the third day now.
3. Yep, day 3.
Yeah. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because I still am of the belief, and perhaps it's becoming naive at this point, where I felt like it was the right thing because it's all about the framing and the messaging. Republicans absolutely take the responsibility for this, and the way the polls are looking, the American voter understands that. But I mean, they're still wreaking havoc. I mean, Ashton, I showed you, and you said it was. I think your exact words were, "That is, this is fucking demented." Jesus Christ, that AI video of the kind of parody of Fear the Reaper
Yeah,
with Russ Vogt.
yeah.
And Russ Vogt is doing what Project 2025 dictated because he was one of the architects of Project 2025. They
Hmm.
are doing mass firings of federal workers. They are shuttering whole fucking departments. My state, as well as 15 other states, we had $8 billion in climate projects canceled and withheld. He's also withholding projects or financial investments in infrastructure and projects in New York. That was a big thing with Mamdani's race being only a few weeks away, and I believe Chicago. But I could be wrong about that other part. But yeah, I mean they're just doing this now as a pretext to just completely gut the federal government big time. When I tell you guys, I originally said, and maybe I said it in conversation with Ashton, but I'll put it on record here. We're going to need at least, and I do want to stress minimum because it's probably going to take longer, a decade to recover from this because I don't think people really appreciate um, how long it takes to build an agency, how long it takes to build an infrastructure for a certain purpose. And we're seeing that it doesn't take nearly as long to tear it down or to make it ineffectual. And I still believe people when they say the end goal is to make these functions so poor in quality and so inefficient that people complain. And then what's always the answer in America? Oh, privatization. We'll just put it in the hands of, we'll just put it in private hands, private capital, and we'll do it. And then, you want air quality, you got to pay a subscription fee. You want clean water, you got to, pay. It is really disgusting to me how everything has just been subsumed by the dollar. How everything has just been debased to what value do you affix to this thing? um, when we do not have to live this way. I just want to remind everybody. But I mean, the oligarchy has really entrenched its power. I mean, I know we've got a No Kings protest October 18th, but my problem with that, if I'm being quite honest, is I love that people are protesting. I love the energy, and I love that we have the numbers, just the raw quantitative numbers. But as other people have noted, I'm not saying anything crazy, right? Because I know off the heels of like Charlie Kirk and stuff like that, we do have to be mindful of our language. But I feel like any protest has to be undergirded by a kind of promise, right? Like we're protesting because you did X, and if you don't capitulate on redressing X, we're going to move on. We're going to take it up one step, right? That's how I feel like any successful protest goes. But the way it goes is you come out, admittedly, in large numbers, again, great energy, but then you go home. And then, like, life just continues in this and that. And I have been saying that I would love to see a general strike. And I commented this on a friend of mine's post, and somebody was like, "Oh, well, we'll be destitute if we do that." And here's the thing, that is a valid concern, and that is a valid counterpoint to my insistence and my urging and my just overwhelming desire to see a general strike. But my counterpoint to that counterpoint would be you're going to be led to destitution anyway. I mean, the economy is in free fall. The austerity they're doing with healthcare and everything else is, even though it's going to be incremental, that's not the same thing as it just not happening altogether. It's happening. It's just happening at a pace where they can maybe deflect accountability, which honestly, I'm even starting to doubt that a little bit, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Like, you're going to get there anyway, right? And so I would rather take the path, even if it does lead there, where we at least reclaim some semblance of agency here. And I guess just the last thing that I was really keyed in on, which is more of a hopeful note, the Gaza flotilla actually did do some good because there were some that broke through the barrier. I know Israel had intercepted some. I really don't know the state of the people on board currently, if they were able to be released or if there's still some captivity going on there. But the flotilla distracted the Israeli Navy long enough that Palestinians were able to fish and get food. And when I tell you, I saw that video and I teared up because I'm like, that just shows that any act of courage can really mean something. And this is an age where courage really is demanded. And again, I'm not saying like, oh, courage means this and only narrowly this. Um, Foster, yes, I would love a picture of your cat, by the way. I'm just catching up on chat here. But courage in anything, courage in speaking your truth, courage in writing something that is anti-fascist, courage in being compassionate to somebody else. Courage takes many forms in times like these, and I hope we find it in all of us. And I say this for myself just as much as anyone else, to be courageous, because that flotilla really inspired the fuck out of me, honestly. Um, and yeah, Superior Paul, I am right there fucking with you, my man. I am right there fucking with you because we have a president who I don't even think is really governing. Because if you want my honest and definitely conspiratorial sounding opinion, I think Russ Vogt and Stephen Miller are running the government because I think our president abso-fucking-lutely has dementia. The AI videos are definitely disturbing and also just fuck AI. And yeah, I mean, things just continue to not be great. But I'm just glad that for now we can just talk about it and just put it all on the table. So, um, did you see anything interesting this week, or you want to respond to anything I've said here? Because I know a lot's been going on. We all live in the same shithole. So, oh, Buster, your cat's beautiful. Oh my god, I love that coat. But yeah, floor is yours, bud. As I swoon over Foster's cat.
What am I getting the floor for exactly?
Just responding to anything, sharing anything, whatever you want to talk about, really. You don't even have to stay on politics if you don't want to. If you want to just talk about something else. This is a free form show, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
not
yeah.
beholden
I
to those
mean,
fucking
I
lists
would
anymore.
say from a political standpoint, things feel pretty fucking destitute, honestly.
Yeah.
You mentioned a general strike, and that just really got me feeling like this is just the worst country in the world at protesting. We really don't know how to do it at all as a country. Um, the fact that we have to plan our protests, like, oh, October 18th, come do this. In France, when they protest, they fucking protest. They go out,
It's
they raise
spontaneous.
hell. There's no fucking planning, and it's not a 1 day thing. They protest until they get what they fucking want from the goddamn government.
And again, look at Italian workers recently.
Yep.
Like they
I
said,
mean, Nepal,
again,
South Korea, like this is shit that's happening all over the world, and we can't manage to do it. Honestly, part of me thinks it's because we're too big of a country, but if anything, that sounds ass backwards because you would think a bigger country, even if we had a slightly lower percentage of the population that was willing to protest, you would still expect for that raw number to be significantly higher than most other countries, which would translate to people on the streets protesting every single fucking day at several different places throughout the nation. And you just don't really see that, at least you don't see it covered in media.
it's so crazy. First of all, I agree with everything you're saying. Let me just acknowledge everything that you just said. I agree 1000%. What's crazy to me is that I really do think now look, I'm not trying to be when we get to the politics section of, this new kind of freeform show that we're doing, it's still week in review, but we're just changing the whole philosophy of it. I don't mean to be hyperbolic at any point when we get into these sections because it's very important that you relay accurate information and do it as soberly as possible. So what I'm about to say, I don't want anybody to think I'm being hyperbolic, but I really do think we're seeing the effects of decades of anti-communist propaganda. I really do.
Oh,
Like
it's
I
been
feel
a
like when you
century almost.
yeah, like I feel like when you have that kind of programming be so incessant for as long as it's been, this is the result that you get. And another thing is, I really do think, and like, I don't want to be harsh to anybody, and believe me, it has been a struggle for me not to do that. But I still think people believe that the system has countermeasures for what's happening, right? Like, I still think people believe that we're going to have, like midterms, with integrity. And I'm sorry, I'm just very dubious of that idea. I'm not going to say that I'm casting it out outright, but look at what's happening, right? Look at who's in charge. Look
I
at what they're
mean,
doing. Yeah,
the
like
Democrats in the House literally would have enough votes to get them to release the Epstein files right now, but because the House is run by the Republicans, because Mike Johnson is the majority leader of the House, the majority speaker, I should say, or the House Speaker. I don't know the fucking terms, but yeah, because he's like
yeah,
the one that gets to make the calls on whether the House is doing whatever. He has basically just called a recess for the House, and they are just not literally. They're not even there right now. Like they're. I saw a video of AOC giving a class full of students a tour of Congress because of the fact that none of the actual like federal workers are working right now because of the government shutdown.
exactly. Exactly. And will those federal workers, again, with Russ Vogt and his designs, even have jobs to return to when they're all done with it? Like, again, anybody that thinks, and I know that they're still out there, right? I know that they're still out there. But anybody that thinks, oh, the system will bail us out because we have 2026 and then we have 2028, which, again, because this is our podcast, meaning that it's okay to reflect our politics, like even 2028 doesn't excite me because who are you going to platform for the Democrats? Fucking Gavin Newsom? A
He
guy that
is
is
currently the odds-on favorite. Yep.
yeah, a guy that's abhorrent to the fucking homeless, a guy that's not really gonna be that protector of trans people that that community desperately fucking needs. Like, I because to me, when you do something like Trumpism, which let's be honest, it's just another way of saying fascism, but I think every fascism is unique. We have to look at the socio-material conditions of every political system, especially fascism. So Trumpism you can't just go back to neoliberalism, or at least you shouldn't, right? And a lot of people have been saying, like, oh, we can't go back to normal because normal was horrible for a lot of people. And that is the correct take. That is absolutely the correct take. At the very least, and you know me, I don't think it's far enough, but I also have to be realistic. I can't have flights of fancy because that's not really doing politics. At the bare fucking minimum to start, you have to do social democracy. And I say social democracy because we have to be realistic. Democratic socialism implies that the means of production is not, in the hands of private ownership, right? It's publicly owned. That's not going to happen. Not here. At least not right now. Maybe not ever. Social
Not
democracy is the
during
best
our
bet. We need
lifetimes, I would say.
no, 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 no. Absolutely fucking not. You need a return to FDRism. You need a return to that like welfareism, but still and ultimately a capitalist economic order. And again, do I think that's far enough? Absolutely fucking not. I mean, I know voters consistently rank climate change as a low priority issue. You need to start bumping it up your fucking list because I'm telling you, what's coming. I don't even know how many states are adequately like climate resilient. And that's the term that I've been using a lot lately because the temperature thresholds, scientists have already said sea levels are going to rise regardless at this point now. We need to start looking at climate resilient infrastructure, which is why what Rust Vote did with holding those funds, canceling those funds of 8 billion for 16 states is fucking ghoulish and insidious because you need all the climate projects you can fucking get to prepare for what's coming. And I think, to circle back to what Ashton said earlier, and bro, I'm so happy you are insistent on this point and really emphatic about it. No country's perfect, and Nepal probably has an uphill climb, right, with a new government and everything else. But what I love about governments, even if they're not perfect, that have had and that have been, the product of mass protests, civil disobedience, unrest, however you want to say it, they're trying. right? Like I feel like, and this is going to be a hot take for me because I understand that it's so easy to say it in the abstract because politics has a real cost, whether we're talking resource intensive cost or whatever we're talking about. We can't be so afraid to experiment and just feel like one system is one to one perfectly with the laws of nature and it's immutable with all fucking time because that's just unrealistic. Like I even understand that even if you and I were to get our ideal anarcho-communist society, there would come a time where that society would end. I just feel like inevitably. I wish it wouldn't, but that's not how history works. That's not how politics essentially works. The question of how should we live together is always going to be renewed for better and for worse. And I'm just waiting for the renewal here. Because I'm just sitting here and I'm like, you really still feel like neoliberal capitalism, neoliberal representative democracy, democracy, coquina clutch air quotes, is the best way to live together. It's not, and that of course is more critiquing the liberals. Obviously, the far right, in a way, they're getting the government they wanted, but I think they thought we're going to deport all the migrants and I'm going to get fucking rich or something, or like my standard of living isn't going to depreciate. Which that was obviously false. So yeah, I think this is the product of anti-communist propaganda. I think this is the product of uh just high illiteracy rates because we know a lot of people in this country are illiterate. They can't read above a fifth grade level, and not even just reading. As one TikTok noted that I think was shared in our Discord, it's about comprehension,
Hmm.
right? It's about understanding things and really, absorbing things and interpreting things. So I think it's a product of illiteracy and anti-intellectualism. And really, I think, and I don't want to be too smug here, but I really think it's a product too of people just feeling like I can be disinterested in politics and not suffer a social cost. And I think that is so fundamentally wrong. Because as I have said a few times now, and I think I'm going to be saying a lot more in the months ahead, you may not care about politics. Politics is always going to care about you. Always. And so, you have to at least be literate enough to have your finger to the pulse and be like, "Oh shit, things are changing."
Yeah.
Um, I'm a political junkie. I'm really against my better judgment because in an ideal world, one of the best things about the revolution is maybe I would calm down on politics a little bit, because I'd be like, okay, finally people are being fed and clothed and housed and whatever. Um, but you don't even have to be like me. I wouldn't even advise being like me. You could be more like because I feel like you, bro. You're far better than me with the consumption because I feel like you consume enough where you're literate to what's going on, but you're not debilitated by it, right? Like you can be in Ashton. I'd rather people be in Ashton. God, what a beautiful world that would be, than just be apolitical altogether. That because that's just never going to fucking work. Because there was a female friend that I had that like we had a conversation. I thought she was upset about the election. And she was like, "Well, wait, why did you think I was upset about the election?" And I'm like, "Well, because he's a rapist and because he's a misogynist and because women might be fucking cooked because Roe v. Wade was already repealed." And then she was like, "Yeah, well, I don't really care about politics." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like, no. No. So, yeah. Oh, and this was also the week, by the way, where Trump tried to get the military to serve him and be like, "Oh, you can use American cities as training grounds."
Yeah.
Um, and Pete Hegseth wanted so badly to be compared to General Patton. When General Patton too was a piece of shit, by the way, he was very abusive to his troops off the battlefield. He was a brilliant general, just a piece of shit human being. But instead, we just all still know him as a drunk, serial cheater, abuser, and rapist. No, well, not serial rape. Well, maybe a serial rapist. We know at least of one person that apparently, when the nurse did the rape kit, she fucking cried and she was forced to sign an NDA. Because we live in a country that just absolutely just so good about the justice and everything. So yeah, two fucking monsters that want to remake the military into kind of like a Hitler army, just homogenized with body type and this and that. And yeah, I actually watched Hegseth's speech because I don't know. I guess I'm just watching the fire in real time. And
There's the opportunity though. There's the opportunity. You could have made a TikTok. I hate myself. Here's the news.
yeah, I hate myself. Here's the news. It's a thing we're workshopping, everybody. Um, and yeah, I watched it, and it's just, and this is one thing, and I know this doesn't materially change anything. So in other words, it's not important. But I will never stop saying, because it's the only thing I really can say. It's the only thing that really brings me any comfort, even as I feel like they have power over me. Um, they are the most insecure, pathetic people on the planet. Like, I need people to understand one thing, if nothing else. If you're like, "John, everything you're saying is great, but I've still got a 9 to 5. I've still got bills to pay. I've resigned myself." You know what? I'm not gonna try and rouse you into the fucking ring, honestly, because I'm barely keeping it together myself. One thing I want you to remember, though, is that these are the most insecure people on the fucking planet, and the bitterness and the insecurity and the fear and the loneliness, no matter how many enemies they invent, no matter how much they burn to the ground and destroy, it will never go away. It will never go away, which is why their way of life fucking sucks. They hate all of us because even in the midst of hell, because neoliberal capitalism wasn't exactly a fucking paradise, we still found joy because we're capable of being vulnerable. We're capable of communicating. We're capable of loving and being loved fundamentally, right? They can't do that, and they hate us for it. They'll tell you everything different. They'll tell you, "Oh, you tell your male friend you love him? That's so gay. Oh, you have sex with your wife? Are you a cuck?" Because they're fucking weird, right? And they're just fucking unplugged from any healthy fucking reality. And underneath all of it is a resentment that we can do that, is a resentment that I can tell Ashton that I love him and feel perfectly affirmed in my masculinity. I mean, have you heard that fucking tone? I'm not the problem. Everyone else is the problem. They can, they seethe when they see that I kiss my cat multiple times a fucking day, and I put baby voice on, like, "Oh, you're so perfect. Oh, you're so wonderful," and I'm not any less of a man because their version of masculinity fucking sucks. And they know it sucks, but they're in so deep they can't give up now because the only thing worse to them than having a life that sucks is proving that they were wrong, that the life didn't suck. It's their pride. And so these are fucking clowns. Fascists always and forever are fucking clowns. Mussolini, when he was a fascist, his propaganda, probably because he wanted to convince himself, literally was Mussolini is always right. Wow, that sounds like a confident man to me, huh? Hitler was a fucking dork. Okay, I've seen pictures of him in fucking, like, traditional German garb. Jesus Christ, that dude was absolutely stuffed in lockers. No wonder he never made it to art school, which then he made everybody else's problem. Fascists are losers. They're losers. They always will be, even when they're winning in the political arena, which I'm not going to shortchange, right? That shit does matter. Fundamentally, in their lives, they have to live with themselves. Do you realize what a horrible sentence that is? Jesus Christ, and I'm me. Anybody that's really heard me be honest on this show, you guys know I don't like myself, like, at all. And I'd still rather be me than a fascist that's winning politically, because at least I have principles. Because at least I have people that fucking love me, and I'm learning one day at a time to love myself. So even if you can't fight anymore, even if you're like, "John, I'm tired, just leave me alone with my stuff," I get it. Again, I'm barely holding it together myself, but just never forget that you are better than these people where it really fucking matters. And I think the idea that we're being ruled by these people is a fucking joke, because we can make a better society in 6 months than they are gonna make for however long this fucking turn of the empire fucking lasts. We'll say even 10 years. It's gonna be a fucking joke. Are you kidding me? So yeah, that's how I want to end. I just always want to dunk on fascists to end things because one phrase I used recently that I liked was they are far closer to the mortal than the mythic, even though they want to gaslight you into believing otherwise. And just never forget how mortal they truly are in all the worst fucking ways. So I think that's a good place to put a pin in things. I guess on the fascist theme, I mean, Peacemaker this week, huh? What a fucking episode. Now that you've had more time to digest it, what did you think of Peacemaker this week?
Oh, I
Um,
loved it. I thought it was a
yeah.
fantastic episode. Chris kind of, I guess, without hesitation being the important part here, immediately jumping in to try and protect Harcourt and trying to save her, and even using the human torpedo helmet to get out of Argus facilities was really cool to see. Um, it was really interesting to see Chris's dad actually be not a piece of shit in the world where you would expect him to be perfectly allowed to be a piece of shit without question and without consequence. And
Yeah,
then
really.
fucking vigilante comes in and stabs the shit out of
Yeah.
him.
I
Vigilante
still I
is
yeah.
just far and away my favorite character in Peacemaker. He's so good.
Oh, dude, that particular scene, the shank, I have thought about that probably to an unhealthy degree, and I pop every time I think about it. Holy shit. I mean, the speech, the swelling music, you know how that fucking technique when you're getting ready to make the big point that rallies the troops and then it hits the crescendo and everything. They're doing that whole thing with the music. And then he just busts through the window, stab, 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 and then that's it. Oh my god. It was brilliant, honestly. It was brilliant. I love the scene with ads and who is the guy in the green? I'm blanking on his name.
Judo master.
Judo master. They're playing Scrabble, and that conversation was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We
I'm
learned
telling
this
you,
week that judo master is gay.
yes, yes, indeed.
I think there have definitely been like undercurrents that you could have jumped to conclusions and assumed it in the past, but now we know for sure.
I mean, dude, I'm gonna just say it right now. It's not even over yet, but I think not by a far degree because I enjoyed season one, but I'm definitely enjoying season two more. Like I'm enjoying the story and everything. And John Cena's acting, man, he has really kicked it up a fucking notch. The Dwayne fucking wishes he had this fucking range. Holy shit, because like Cena as Chris, Oh, by the way, actually, before I get into his stuff, I fucking love Economos. He's so relatable. He just wanted to go home, just taped to that fucking chair, being like, "Oh,
True.
and if
Yeah.
anything bad happens, just know that I wasn't a part of it." Like,
Yep.
yes, Economos, yes,
Yep.
I too am a piece of shit. But Chris, the whole thing with like his brother and everything, and he's crying over the body, and he's saying, "What's wrong isn't your world or mine. It's me." And the delivery on that line, like Cena has elevated his game, bro. It's crazy. I'm really proud of how far he's come as an actor because I'll tell you, and I'm not even kidding about this. I could see Cena when he gets a bit older and he puts like a bit more time in this. Maybe one day he'll be holding an Oscar. I mean, Eminem is an
Oh yeah.
Oscar winner for fucking
I
Eight
can
Mile. Like
absolutely see Cena being an Oscar. I mean, I know that TV shows you get Emmys for the awards. I could see him winning an Emmy for Peacemaker this year, and I do definitely think that Oscars are in his future without a doubt.
my God. Yeah. Honestly, dude, I'm so glad you agree because sometimes with opinions like this, even more than political opinions, I'm a little nervous to venture out because I'm like, oh man, is what I'm about to say absurd? But I'm really glad that you agree because like I just saw that scene and I'm like, he's gonna keep doing this. Like this
Yep.
is the plan now that wrestling's done.
Yeah,
And
and he's
if there's
literally retiring at the end of the year from being wrestling.
yeah, and like if there's anything we know about John Cena for better or worse, like when he's dedicated to something, he really does genuinely seem to be those 1000% kind of guys. And if you're giving 1000% to this and you're already this good right now, I'm really curious where Cena's acting is going to be even 2 years from now. Like I really do think an Oscar's possible for him. So yeah, great episode of Peacemaker. Really can't wait for next Thursday on it. Um, and we've started our Halloween kind of watching stuff, so that was cool. We did both Haunted Mansions last night. The 2023 version with Lakeith Stanfield is fucking excellent, and other
Yes.
people too. Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Jamie Lee Curtis, Rosaria Dawson. Um, it was a lot of fun. I like the Eddie Murphy one, but I prefer the 2023 one just because the cast is more stacked and got more pops out of me. Um, but yeah, both were good. And then we watched Marvel Zombies, and I thought that was fun too. I enjoyed getting back to that art style of What If, and doing all that. Um, and yeah, I like the ending of that too, and I like the gore in that. Like Marvel really embraced being a zombie property for this, and they
I
understand how
do
zombies work.
appreciate though that it really is like a direct spin-off of What If, because they kind of tell you that immediately with the first death in the show being Kate fucking Bishop. Like, okay, Tell me that this isn't canon without telling me that this isn't canon. You killed off Haley Steinfeld in the opening minutes of the show. That's never fucking happening in the real MCU.
Which I mean, good for Haley Steinfeld getting that work because she killed it in Sinners, and then we see her here, so that was really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I like her, man. She's really good at what she does. I like her music and I like her acting. She's a true bare minimum double threat. I don't know if she's got any other talents.
yeah. And honestly, she may not need other talents. I mean, we'll see how far she could take the
Yeah.
talents that she does have. You know, it's like you with your face. I feel like you're just that face is so innately talented; it could take you anywhere. You don't need to learn anything else.
Oh
So yeah,
God.
it was 90% affection, 10% sleep deprivation. So don't mind me. I'm just saying shit. But yeah, yeah, Peacemaker was great. Did we did zombies. We did haunted mansion movies. What other? Oh, The Purge. We did the Purge movies. We did the first Purge movie, and then we did Purge Anarchy. Both really
Yes.
good. Both really good. Like I think it has great social commentary. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Purge TV series because Ash and I kept up with it. I think we were keeping up with it like while it was releasing. Either that or
Yes,
we were
we
just
did.
like a little, yeah. That TV series, I remember it being excellent. I told Ashton after watching
Yeah.
those two movies, I'm like, we need to make time at some point. I'd say within the next year to just like
Yeah.
rewatch that series.
I remember season one of The Purge being excellent and season two being really good, but not living up to this first season's hype.
You know what? You're probably right, but still, though, I want to circle back. They did say really good, so it's not like either season was bad. It's just the
Yeah.
first season was like, oh my god, this was amazeballs, and the second one was like, you know what? Really solid installment. Not as good as that though. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, Was that all like the pop culture stuff? Because I know we kind of do it like wrestling, politics,
Well,
and pop culture. Like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We watched, believe it or not, just in the last like week and a half or so, we've watched the entire first season and the entire first season and the first two episodes of the second season of Platonic on Apple TV Plus.
Yes, yes. And man, Seth Rogen, man, the characters he's playing, I just, goddamn, I feel like I'm starting to see like a thoroughgoing thread with all these characters because it's definitely got douchey energy to me. But then again, with that
Yeah.
laugh, you know,
Well, yeah. I mean, his character in the show is very like in line with his character in the studio, where
yes,
he is just kind of like this sort of self-aggrandizing, very vain, douchebaggy type character who doesn't really think he's being a douchebag, who just thinks he's trying to be like the cool guy and thinks that he's like trying to be fun and funny and appeal to people when in actuality he would be way better off just literally fucking off and doing anything else.
God, you're so right.
Yeah.
And
And then, you know what, though? I do appreciate it because, especially in this show, like in the studio, it's more about like executive overreach and there's like commentary on that kind of stuff. But in this show, it really does feel more like a direct mirror being held up to any men watching the show about like being willing to be wrong sometimes if it makes your partner happy, if it makes your loved ones happy.
yes,
Because it's like, yeah, like the dinner scene in season two, I want to say episode two, where I forget her name, but his fiance um is talking about how she took her first steps at 5 months and she learned how to ice skate when she was 1 years old, and he was just like really nagging, really like getting on her case about how that's just like a tall tale that her family tells to brag about her. And then she was like, no, but it really happened though. That was such an uncomfortable scene, and it really just get made you feel like, wow, like fuck this fucking guy, he's the worst, he sucks.
yes, yes, yes,
And then, like, we get to the scene at the end of the show where it's revealed that his fiance kind of fucking sucks too, so they're just both kind of awful.
yes. Yeah, you know, you saying he's the worst, that kinda jogged my memory that, I've kinda had an itch to wanna rewatch Gravity Falls lately, and I rewatched the scene where Dipper Pines is kind of talking to his sister Mabel and her friends because they want to go to this party being hosted by Pacifica Northwest, who's like the really like rich
Yeah,
uh, girl in the show,
I
and
remember
he's
that
like,
episode.
guys, yeah, he's like, guys, you know, Pacifica is the worst. And I'm not just saying that out of jealousy either. I would say it to her face. And then seconds later, she knocks Pacifica, that is. And she's like, I need your help. And he does to her face. He says, you're the worst. And then he slams the door in her face. And I'm like, you know what? Writing like that is why that show is as beloved as it is. Because how often do you see the trope where the person's like, oh, I would do this thing. And then they do the exact opposite. And this dude
Yeah.
stood on business. I respect it, honestly.
I
God
also
damn.
think that that's kind of an instance of like claiming that you're going to do something and then the opportunity arises to do it and you feel so emboldened by the fact that you claimed you would do it that you literally refuse to back down from your own claims and you're like, you know what, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, but I said I would do it, so fuck it. And then they say it. That's kind of the vibe I got from Dipper in that moment, in that episode.
Dude, so short after the claim too. Because like in other cases, maybe you'll have a week before you're tested, maybe longer, maybe a bit shorter. But like it was almost instantaneous that he
Yeah,
like got put in the hot seat,
yeah.
and he still was like, no, it's fresh. I'm doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, as far as music, I don't think I've heard any new music. I know, Doja Cat's new album has dropped, but I haven't listened to anything from that. And I'll tell you what, man,
I
at
think
this
you
point.
talked about the Doja Cat album last week on this show too.
Did I? Well, I apologize. Time runs together for me. But what I do know is more recent that I have not touched. I don't know how many people are because I think some people are averse to it. I don't know if it's because of Travis or what, but Taylor Swift's album dropped. And the only song that caught my eye, not that I listened to it again, I haven't listened to any of it, but the one song that caught my eye, she did a collab with Sabrina Carpenter on this album. And I'm like, oh, bet that sounds pretty good. Um, so yeah, that album dropped as well. So it's been an interesting time in music. So yeah, that's all I've got to report though. I'm in my alt rock niche kind of metal alt rock bands that are just trying to get a start kind of era. And
Yeah. Meanwhile,
only
on
yeah.
my end, in terms of music, I'm still pretty much just spamming Gala from XG over and over again. I fucking love that
Yeah.
song. It's so good.
Hey, you're helping their grind, brother. You're helping their grind. When they make it, they take over
Oh
the
yeah,
world, which they
I got
will.
a I
Yeah.
got a notification from YouTube Music. I think it might have even been yesterday actually. That told me that I was in the top 0.5% of listeners of XG for this month of September.
Well, that does not surprise me at all.
No, it shouldn't. Uh, oh man, that's funny.
You know what though? Love that for you, honestly. You know what, man? I know you and I don't like to overstay our welcome on things. Is there anything else you'd want to talk about, like on any subject, wrestling, pop culture, politics, or should we just open up the forum for questions? Because we already know we have some questions in the Discord channel, but I don't want to rush you. I'm just saying, like,
You
I
know
feel
what?
like I
Yeah,
want
I mean,
to
yeah.
know.
From a personal perspective, I have been watching AP Bio with my mom over the course of the last week, and really, really enjoying that show. John, I
Yes,
even told you this morning before we hung up that I think that you would really enjoy this show too. It's about a former Harvard philosophy professor
yes,
who moves to, get this, fucking Toledo, Ohio, to teach AP biology to a class of high school students. And he basically enters the room and immediately says, I'm not teaching you biology. If you keep your mouth shut and don't tell anyone, you get an A. If you blab, you get an F. And continues to use the students in his class to try and get revenge on his professional rival who he believed wronged him in the form of taking his job as a philosophy major or philosophy professor at Harvard. And that's pretty much the entire first season is him trying to get revenge on that guy. And it's a good show. It's fun. The cast is mostly lesser known people. I will say the principal is played by Patton Oswalt, who I know we both love. Um,
yes,
but aside from him specifically, the cast is I won't say unknown because it's not like they're a bunch of, who the hell is that kind of people, but it is a lesser known cast for sure. Once you get past Glenn Howerton and Patton Oswalt, there are not a lot of names that I am familiar with. A woman named Lyric Lewis plays a history teacher. And then you've got a woman named Mary Sohn who plays an art teacher, and Jean, I think it's pronounced Villepique, plays a health and home ec teacher, and then you've got Paula Pell, who is an absolute revelation for me. This woman plays the principal's secretary. Her name in the show is Helen. And my man, are you familiar with Chris Farley? You know about Chris Farley?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
aware of his work?
yeah. Wasn't he the van down by the river guy on, I
Yes,
want to say, SNL?
dude.
Yeah,
Paula Pell is the living reincarnation of Chris Farley in, his soul in the body of a woman. She acts, moves, talks like him almost to the letter. It's incredible. She's fantastic. And I loved her in this show so much that it actually made me seek out other work that she's been in. And there's this other show that she is a star of called Girls Five Eva, which is, I believe, another uh, Apple. It might be a Peacock show. I don't remember, but it's another one of these sitcom type shows where she plays a member of a girl group who were famous like 20 years prior to the events of the show, and one of their songs gets sampled by a rapper, and it helps to kind of reinvigorate their careers. And she is just fantastic. She, I think, is one of the best sort of physical comedy actresses in the game right now. I think she is everything that what's her face, Melissa McCarthy, I think is her name, wishes she
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Just huge fan of Paula Pell, and like no disrespect to Melissa McCarthy. I'm sure that Paula Pell is probably a fan of hers too. It wouldn't surprise me. But man, when I watch AP Bio, and I every time this Helen character is on my screen, it pops me. She's just hilarious. She pops me so much. And yeah, she's really good. The show's great. John, if you ever wanted to watch it with me, we could watch it together. I wouldn't mind. I'm only through one of 4 seasons, so it's not like I'm super deep into it, kind of like the situation with Haikyuu not that long ago. Um,
Right.
it's a lot of fun. It was weird though because I had one of those days where I was really in the mood for something specific and I had a really hard time finding it. I was basically in the mood for like a classroom sitcom, and like I looked through a bunch of them, and I did actually watch the first episode of Abbott Elementary, but the vibe was just off. It just didn't really do it for me. And then I found AP Bio and it was awesome. So that's kind of been my main
Nice.
thing that I've been doing away from the stuff that we do together.
Nice. All right. Yeah, I guess. Well, actually, no. I don't want to. I don't want to take the baton away from you just yet. Is there anything else you wanted to put on the table, or should we open the forum? Or I guess rather than open the forum for questions per se, go through the questions in our Discord first, and then open the forum for questions.
Yeah, I think we can get into our Q&A questions for the week.
All right. So what do we got?
Well, we have 6 from Super Blue, same number I believe that Super Blue submitted last week. First up, why does WWE give a fuck about what Israel thinks about NXT Invasion? It literally has nothing to do with them.
Because Israel, is just hyper self-conscious of its own image, and it wants to always project a constant image of like a perpetual resistor against malignant forces and a victim of said forces. And I'm only mentioning this because we're back on Israel. I'm seeing The Guardian has run a piece because we know that Greta Thunberg, who I want to say is more courageous than anybody in our entire government currently, um, she kind of was one of the bigger names, like as part of the flotilla. Israel apparently, now this is a quote from a Turkish activist that I guess was present. He said they dragged Greta by her hair before her eyes. They beat her and forced her to kiss the Israeli flag. They did everything imaginable to her as a warning to others. That's the Zionist ideology for you. Which I want to say again, just because we're still seeing like anti-Semitic attacks. You can be anti-Zionist without being anti-Semitic. Plenty of Jews are anti-Zionist because they understand what Zionism as an ideology entails, and that is the dispossession, maiming, and ultimately the liquidation of Palestinians and just other Arab populations that the Israeli would see as an existential threat or as against God's plan or whatever the fuck. You can be a Jew and you can be anti-Zionist. We've seen a lot of it, especially recently. And so to go back to the question that you actually asked, yeah, I mean Israel again. I think they're very self-conscious. I think it's weird to say this about a political entity, but they're very narcissistic, and they cannot be seen as anything other than a victim and a resistor in a broader struggle. And they feel like invasion, like, oh, that's belittling to me, or whatever, because they
Well,
always
I
want
think
to
it was
control.
because the date of
Yeah,
the show was close to
yeah,
um
October 7th,
yeah, exactly.
which was the Hamas attack. Which I mean, I have questions about that, but this is not the forum to get into that. So yeah, I mean, it's really no surprise, honestly. So next question from Super Blue.
I accidentally just closed that tab. Opening it back up. I guess this one's just for me. Why did Cleveland draft two quarterbacks? I actually do have a really good answer for this. From what I understand, the situation was basically that Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, wanted Dylan Gabriel, so they drafted him in the third round, and then in the fifth round, uh, I guess that it was just a breaking point for the owner, and the owner said, "You know what? If you don't draft Shadur Sanders, you're fired." And so Shadur Sanders got drafted in the fifth by Cleveland because their owner insisted upon it. I guess that's really all the explanation you need. The first quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, third rounder, was drafted by the head coach. Shadur Sanders was drafted in the fifth round, basically by the owner. The owner insisted upon it, and that is also probably a good explanation for why a third string quarterback is getting interviewed in locker rooms where no other third string quarterback is ever paid attention to. Next question from Super Blue. How do you feel about Roman manipulating Jey Uso and possibly turning on Jimmy Uso?
I mean,
I don't know anything about this, to be honest with
I really don't know much about it. I know Jay's been more aggressive lately, wanting to look out for himself. Look, just speaking abstractly, anything horrible happening to Jimmy Uso, I should just automatically be known as a for vote. I'm definitely, you love to see it. So if Roman Reigns and Jey Uso are gonna beat the shit out of Jimmy as a family, I think that's a great bonding activity, and I encourage it, 100%. So yeah, let's keep it going.
you. Next question. Do you think Jimmy Uso will become the world champion if Jey Uso turns on him?
I think it really says a lot, given the shithole we live in, that if Jimmy Uso became a world champion, I would still put that in the top 10 list of worst things to happen in this fucking timeline. And
Jesus.
thankfully, I won't be there to watch. Thankfully, I won't be there to watch it because we're divorced from this product. But no, no, no. I think Jimmy Uso being world champion is just as ludicrous as, I don't know, Yoshihashi being IWGP heavyweight champion. So just it's not happening. It's just not happening. So there you go. Next question.
Uh, do you think James Franklin, this one I guess is for me, this is a football one. Do you think James Franklin will get fired if Penn State doesn't beat Ohio State after losing to a winless UCLA today? I mean, if they lost to a winless UCLA today, I wouldn't be surprised if he got fired within the next few days, like before they even face Ohio State. I don't know. That seems pretty sus. Penn State is supposed to be a prestige football program, so for them to go ahead and lose to a winless UCLA team is really, really bad, and probably a pretty significant indictment of James Franklin. So, final question from Super Blue. How do you feel about the AI video Trump posted and the one posted about MAGA 2028 in the politics channel?
The Trump video specifically, was that MAGA 2028? Was that the one that we watched with like the rich fucking barons eating, and then MAGA kind of like throws Molotov cocktails at the end, or was there like a
Probably.
separate video?
Yeah, I think that is the one.
I was disturbed by both. I was disturbed more by the Reaper video because Trump himself posted that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he posted the other one because if he did, I mean, that's kind of weird given that you're kind of predicting your own downfall in the end there after almost fucking irreversible damage, if not just irreversible damage, period. But yeah, I mean, the Trump one scared me because again, that's a sitting government official. That's the fucking president saying that, and I even said like, oh, his brain's melting out of his ears. Again, very clearly cognitive decline, very clearly dementia. And the other one, what's funny about the other one? Like, I was definitely unnerved by it and disturbed by it, but at least at the end, MAGA seemingly ironically were the ones to really do the shit, which is the crazy fucking thing because, bro, for years I have said that the right is better at politics fundamentally than the left. And you fucking watch, bro, that like they're gonna be the ones to do the really provocative shit. For all this talk of like, oh, the left, whatever, we gotta be restrained. It's gonna be the right wingers that realize that like materially their life still fucking sucks and
Well,
like, oh
isn't
my
that
god.
already kind of happening though with the assassinations and the political killings that have been happening?
It is, but it isn't. It is in the sense that you're absolutely right that again the right is just doing bolder shit. But it isn't in the sense that that's not necessarily on a material basis, like a socioeconomic basis. That seems to be on a basis of you're not far right enough for our liking, which is horrifying because I think honestly, and I'm not again not trying to be hyperbolic when we talk politics. I want to be as grounded and as sober as possible week to week. I really believe that what these people wanted was another Auschwitz. It's like I don't want these people deported. I want actual like gas chambers and concentration camps, like full on Hitler style concentration camps, not the ones that they're building just to house and dehumanize and just God knows what else these poor fucking people. I think they wanted like true blue Nazi 2.0 shit, and they're disappointed that it hasn't gotten that because while you're definitely getting that to a degree, which is unfucking deniable if you look at the evidence what this is, and other commentators have said this. Trump wants like another Gilded Age where like the fucking richest people take everything and leave us with fuck all. That's really what this is. The presidency is just a glorified get richer quick scheme to me. And so it's more about the economics for Trump than anything else. If they can do an ethno nationalist state on top of it, that's the cherry on the proverbial Sunday, but it isn't the actual Sunday. That's how I look at it. So but yeah, both videos were disturbing for sure.
Yeah. All right. Next set of questions. We only have one other set of questions this time around, unless Caster Sales has been asking in chat, and he hasn't. So our only other set of questions are from Alex Foster, who has been in here with us. It's nice to have you around, Alex.
Love you, Foster.
First question was what advice would Roman give you guys if he wanted you to be the next tribal chief?
I mean, we're literally perfect, so I don't know.
So it would have to be a manipulation of him trying to get you to become something that he wants you to
It would be a manipulation, although more so for you than for me, because he would see the darkness in me. He'd be like, "Oh, you've seen shit," and like you kind of embrace it, and you're looking for a reason to be unhinged and a depraved piece of shit. So he'd be like, "You see that guy over there? Oh, Ashton, I love him. Yeah, yeah. Listen, manipulate him, and then when the time is right, betray him and abuse him emotionally. But I don't want to do that. Do you want to be tribal chief or not? I do love power. So how does this go?" And then it's just that whole conversation. So yeah, he would probably just appeal to my worst nature, and eventually he'd wear me down. But hopefully we get to flag the target off of your winsome face onto something that would be more palatable. I don't know who though. We'll have to figure that out. How could he manipulate you though? I'm curious how you would be corruptible.
be. I honestly really hate answering questions like this because I just don't know. Like, I feel like I need someone else to answer this for me because I feel like I don't like have an answer,
You
honestly.
did say you did say last week your weakness was comfort. So if Roman framed it like, listen, man, when you're tribal chief, do you know what that means? You have the ultimate power of delegation. Anything that you would once have to do, other people would have to do, and you could just stay nice and cozy. Oh man, that sounds swell, Roman. How many people do I have to ruin to make that happen?
Maybe Roman could basically just like promise immunity from the fascism. That would probably be enough.
There you go. There you go.
Like, listen, man, I know you've been worried about losing benefits, but if you do this, if you become tribal chief, you'll never have to worry about money again, and you won't even need benefits because you'll be set for life.
Yeah, the benefits will be scared of losing you. You'll be living so nice.
Yeah, that would probably be the one, honestly. Uh, that's the kind of comfort that I refer to, by the way. Like
Yeah,
the
the socioeconomic comfort, like
yeah,
broadly speaking. Yeah,
exactly.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
All
Like
right, second
Foster even said it
question from
perfectly.
Alex. If you guys switched bodies for a week, how long would it be before you told us? Or would you never say anything just to screw with us? Me personally, I would want to talk about this with everyone. I would want everyone to know. I mean, I would wake up in your body in your house and I would just immediately be like, Christy, I'm not John, I'm Ashton. Somehow we switched bodies. I don't know what the fuck happened. I got to call myself so that I can talk to John.
Dude, you would have to really convince her too, because the first thing she'd probably tell you would be, John, get help. And then you'd have to be like, but no, I'm serious. And then I'll tell you, I think just and I use this in a broad way because you and I would be inhabiting such different bodies, like on a visceral level, like the culture shock would be too much for me to keep it to myself. Like I would want to talk to you immediately, and then I would want to talk to our audience immediately. I don't even think it'd be a full day because I'd be like, holy
Yeah.
shit. Because on one hand, you would have my muscle tightness, which would be really a lot for you to get, I think, your mind around. And then for me, I'd be a bigger guy, but I would also have motor skills and just mobility that I've never had. Again, just the culture shock would be insane. So yeah, I would want to get to that, right away. Um, so those were all the Discord questions.
We have one left from Alex.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Foster's last question is,
I think this is more just for me, admittedly, because it's about Pokemon. He
oh,
just
that's
said,
cool.
what are your thoughts on what we've seen so far for Legends ZA? I am honestly blown away, Alex, that we haven't seen more. I feel like we have a vague idea of what the game will look like and like the mechanics of the game, but it is unbelievable that this game is literally 2 weeks away, I believe. Isn't it October 18th? Legends ZA. October 16th, even. It's even sooner than I thought it was going to be. And we don't even know what the final evolutions of the starters look like. This has got to be the latest in the process of Pokemon, of Game Freak marketing a game that we don't even know what the final evolutions of the starters look like. That is insane to me.
That's pretty crazy.
It is.
I still anticipate the final evolution of your face more though. Like I've had my speculations, some more educated than others, and I'm like, damn, how is that all gonna end? But but yeah, I guess Pokemon are cool too. I don't know. But yeah, I guess I guess you deflating before the giggle broke me just completely. I have to tell you right now. Oh my god. Um, I'm glad I pop you,
Super
bud.
Blue, Super Blue threw out some low shots. Texas, which is like the University of Texas football team. Penn State, which we talked about earlier, lost to a winless team today. And Josh Briggs losing because he got distracted by Matt Cordra. Is that Cardona? Did
I
Mid
think yeah,
Cardona show up on NXT?
yeah, I guess so. Fucking carbonara ass. But yeah, fucking this whole fucking invasion thing. Jesus Christ. So I'll tell you what, guys, because I'm sleep deprived and I know Ash was tired earlier, I'm closing the gate immediately. I'm not even doing a count. That was questions. So thank you for them. We appreciate it. And do we even do high spots, low shots anymore? It doesn't make any sense, right? Like what
We
am I gonna do?
don't. Yeah,
Low
no.
shot America for the fucking
Yeah.
350th week in a fucking row or whatever the fuck? Like, no, what? Um, yeah. So, I mean, I guess I don't know. Here's my question for America: how does my ass taste? That's my fucking question. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Do you have any concluding thoughts before I take us home?
No.
You're perfect. Okay, so with that said, guys, why'd you have to say no like that and pop me with tone, man? Leave a like as you sign it.
Precisely because I knew it would work.
Maybe I've been your pop slut the whole time. God, what a fucking twist that would be.
We're
Be sure
codependent
to
as fuck. It's never ending.
yeah. That's so true. God, our codependency is the best, though. I mean, maybe I should wean myself, but I don't want to. Leave a like as you file out. Subscribe, click the bell icon notifications so you don't miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the WC. We'll see you guys again. I don't fucking know. Is it just going to be Thursday for Stardom, or when do we have Marigold again?
I don't fucking know.
Nobody fucking knows. Fuck.
Marigold, we basically had a whole week off, and I think we have a new show. Yeah, there was literally one show that happened today, and their next show is a week from today. And the show
It
that happened
sucked.
today
Yeah.
had like nothing on it that we are gonna want to watch. Like the one match that we might be remotely interested in is Mirai and Yuka Yamazaki versus Seriyama Oka and Komomo Minami, because the main event
That
is the new Tommy
yeah.
match, but Sakurai's in it, and fuck that.
That match also sounds skippable, though, so I'm going to say nothing on that is good. And I also want to
Yeah,
thank you because I know I came at you very aggressively with the question of, did it suck? And I thought you were going to return to me with tone saying, I don't know. But instead, you answered my question. And you know what? For that, I can come down for 2 fucking seconds and just be like, thank you. You know, it's very appreciated. So,
I feel
yeah,
like you definitely expect me to be aggro far more than I ever actually am.
I just think I have an expectation of the energy being matched a bit more, but I think you match the energy in the appropriate ways and in the right ways. And you know what? That's very healthy of you, which also makes me look bad, so fuck you. No, in all seriousness, I don't know when we're coming back with the guy. I guess we could just say Thursday for Stardom because
Yeah,
Monty Gold
yeah,
isn't
we
really
definitely have a
doing anything.
Stardom show planned because we're going to be doing New Blood this week.
But yeah, that's right. New blood now with new future of Stardom champion Hanako. Fucking
The best Hina has ever looked, and she drops the title.
I know, right? Classic Ina. So much for that study group. All right. Well, I
More
guess
like a
that's it.
study poop, am I right?
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna turn off my crisp for this, even though it's just me saying it, not really sounding it out. Fucking pop.
Nice.
So,
Boop.
okay. That
Oh
was
my
that was
goodness.
yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. Um,
Oh, believe me, I heard it. Sounded like you
yeah,
were
so
asphyxiating on your own air over there.
yeah, don't tell me what me and the elements are doing. Um, so I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm so tired. All right,
Oh
guys.
no.
Yeah, do you mind your face right now? Okay,
How
things are
about
good.
no?
Things are. Stop it.
No.
Stop it.
Stop doing it like that. Jeez.
No.
No, you stop it.
Things are good in this neighborhood. Um, Bro, I walked
Cool.
2 miles today.
You what?
Yeah, dude, today was nuts.
Did you say
Oh,
that you walked 2 miles today?
yeah, a mile 2 where me and the family went to eat today because we did, like, food truck shit, which was, it was okay, and then we walked a mile back, like, to the car because we parked really far away. And the family even offered me, they're like, "We could bring the car closer to you," and I'm like, "No, it's gotta be a team effort. I'm in." Oh
Oh
god.
my god.
Lesson, kids. When somebody offers to bring the car closer to you, don't be a fucking mark and prove something. Just take the deal. Fucking losers.
Jeez.
Oh,
You're
oh,
you're gonna be alright, right?
don't. No. No.
Why?
Because that was the verdict. Deal with it.
No.
You already live in a system that upholds disproportionate sentencing. Like, I feel like you'd be used to a corrupt justice system by now.
How, no, nobody ever gets used to that. What are you talking about?
You know what? You're right. Great job not being desensitized, bud. Which, by the way, that's my last pearl of advice to anybody still listening to this insanity. And God, if you are, that really says a lot about you more than it does me. Um, Read Black radical literature, kids. I've been reading a lot of Du Bois recently, and apparently that's how it's pronounced. And yeah, fucking based. Also, learn things about Booker T. Washington that really disappointed me. Granted, he was vital for the cause of furthering black equality, because I guess everybody did their part. But Yeah, he apparently was okay with segregation. He said, listen, it's okay that we're all separate fingers because we're all part of the same hand towards progress. What the actual fuck, Washington? I didn't realize you were the Cory Booker of your fucking time. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. And if people are wondering why lump him and Cory Booker together, well, fuck Cory Booker. I feel like he would be the type to really sell out if it meant furthering his own agenda and his own ends. So yeah, read literature outside of your lived experience. It'll help your consciousness expand and make you better at resisting the bad things. At least that's my advice. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. All you football fans, I hope Sunday night football or just Sunday football in general is good to you. Be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.